Alright, what's going on everybody, it's Liam here and welcome to today's video on the channel. And in today's video, I have a commentary for y'all and we'll be talking about the best level 160 pets for both PvE Classic mode and PvP Advanced mode. So in this video, I'm going to go over all 7 schools. I have all 7 schools maxed out already. I will start off on the Storm, obviously, which is my main character here on the channel. For the PvE Classic mode, you're going to keep it pretty simple with, obviously a Fearless Warrior like this. If you do need help making any of these pets in this video, you're going to simply join my Discord server and then, or, pull up to a stream and I can help you guys lend these pets. But you'll want a pet like this. It doesn't have to be talent for talent. You can have Mighty in the pool and socket a Pain Giver or a Boon, for example. But you'll definitely want this. Triple double isn't good anymore since there's no damage cap. And yeah, you're going to definitely want that for PvE. Now for PvP on a Storm Wizard, you're going to want the raid pet, the Stormy Null Dragon. You get this from the last boss of the raid, the Melody. It's an exclusive pet, which means you have to get it dropped first, and then you can hatch with other players who have better talents than you. If you have a hamster or something, for example, and you try to hatch with this Melody Dragon, but you haven't done raids to get it, you will not get the Melody Dragon. This pet is good because it gives 3 really high damage 2-pip elf dots, which is really cracked for Storm in PvP, right? You create a lot of pressure with this. You can just instantly lock your opponent out of, winning the game with this card if you do it at a good time. And obviously 3 copies is a lot, so you'll pull it, you can spam it. It's really, really solid. Other pets that are also pretty good are the Rain Beetle pet and the Electric Elf if you do not have any raid pets. But yeah, those are the 2 best pets for the Storm Wizard at level 160. Alright, so hopping on the Fire now. Fire, again, follows the same theme in terms of PvE. For, obviously the Fire, you're going to want the Fearless Warrior. Every single school is going to want this pet. It's just so good with the set bonus, as you can see right here. Unfortunately, this is pay to win. I do not know any free-to-play way to get this stuff, but it is what it is, unfortunately. Maybe someday KingsL will make a system where we can get this stuff for free. And for PvP, this is going to be the pet you're going to want right here. It is a Deadly Null Dragon with obviously these fire talents right here. You'll want to socket Bracify. I do not have it on this character, unfortunately. But you'll definitely just want to socket Bracify on here. And it's just such a good pet. You get 3 Dark Pact 35 cards, which is insanely good. Now, this complements Fire really well because you typically overtime into a Shad anyways. And let's say you overtime and they counter that, you have a really big hit, obviously, if you set yourself up with a Dark Pact and like an Aura or a Bubble, right? So this pet really complements Fire. And, people can't really shield against a Fire because Fire destroys shields. So they have to weakness. And then you have the counter to a weakness, which is a Dark Pact, obviously, with this pet. So definitely an S tier pet. Definitely get this if you are a Fire main, if you can. Do some raids. If you do not have that pet, I would suggest either the Lord of Summer pet. I have this pet in the kiosk if y'all need help making it. Again, just stop by the stream if you need help with any of these pets, just let me know. But this would be the next best pet. A 35 bubble helps you cycle, helps you keep that bubble control on a Fire. And if you also do not want to use that, I would suggest the set bonus pet with obviously the same talents we have on the left here to get the extra damage. Alright, so hopping on the Ice Wizard now. I only have 2 pets, and ironically it's the 2 pets that we need for this video. But for me, I use the Marshfellow in PvE personally. Now, this is a pay-to-win pet. It does look really cool. It's a really good set bonus. It's basically just like the Fearless Warrior set bonus, obviously, as you can see right here. So it's pretty good. You can get it. Obviously, it's not exclusive. I can lend this pet out. If you do not want to run this pet, you can run a Fearless Warrior. I'm pretty sure the Fearless Warrior is actually better in terms of damage. I think you gain 1 damage on the set bonus. But I run this pet personally because I can get that extra 5 resist as well. Then for PvP, you're going to want the Blimp Buddy. It is still the best pet. King Zal has yet to nerf the 235 bubble copies on an ice. So you're still going to want to run this until they do something about that. The same talents as the Storm, but obviously you socket a Giver because you're ice. You need all the help you can get in terms of damage. And you typically will not be hurting for pips on your ice wizard. Alright, so on the balance, again, you're going to want the typical Frillasaur pet. On the support schools, I would consider, you know, like Death, Life, Balance and Support School. You could get this pet on an Enchanted Armament as well to obviously support your teammates a bit better. But if you're just questing alone or with a buddy, where you both are hitting, you're definitely going to want to cop this pet. Now for the best PvP balance pet, I am going to recommend the Deadly Melody Dragon again. Balance right now is an absolute menace in the meta. You have to be afraid of Mana Burn. Lore Master does a lot. Mock does a lot. Gaze does a lot. Hydra does a lot. So all things considered, Balance is a pretty offensive school right now in the meta. Whether the devs want that to be a thing or not, it just really is. Dark Pact is really good, right? People will weakness a Balance a lot because you don't want to tower and get Hydra'd. So you'll punish that with a Dark Pact, and then they have to tower or weakness again, and at that point you either get a big Hydra combo, a big Hydra hit, or you can just keep the pressure on and take an open hit on a Balance, which is pretty good. So this just creates a lot of tempo for, you know, schools that can benefit with it and combo really well. Again, we're talking about Fire or Balance, where you can mock into a lure or gaze into a lure with this Dark Pact pet. So it's really cracked. I would highly suggest getting this. I've won a lot on my Balance so far with it. Very solid pet. Again, S tier for this school. On the Myth, again, we have the typical Frillasaur pet. Not going to talk very much about that. On a Myth, you can get very creative with your pets. I will say that, you know, you can see I have a lot right here. But for the best Myth pet, you're going to definitely want this one right here. The Maple Moose. Now, it is a Crown's pet. So unfortunately, you cannot get it in the kiosk. I don't think you can, at least. You can also get the Myth Melody Dragon from Raids. It has the exact same item cards, exact same, you know, 3 fuels, 35 fuels. So it just doesn't really matter if you have this pet or the Raid one. Alternatives are the Eternal Night, which I believe actually is in the kiosk. That one's pretty good as well. Having 3 obviously helps you cycle your deck a bit better compared to 2. So you can pull it, you know, spam it more often as well. So it's really, really solid. Some other alternatives I'd say are this Charon set. This one is really pay to win though. If you have this pet and the mount, you can actually get like a Gulcher and like a better Clockwork Cursor, like 2-in-1 with this pet set bonus. So it's really, really good. And you could also run a bubble pet on a Myth. Myths typically deck fail a lot, especially their 2-pip bubbles. So having a bubble pet on a Myth is pretty helpful. Alright, so now on the Death Wizard, again, we have the typical Frillasaur. I do not have my Mighty socketed on this pet just yet, so ignore that Ice Ward. You can put Thinking Cap on or Mighty. Again, for either one of these pets, it doesn't matter as long as your stats are maxed out. I guess real quick, something I could briefly talk about here is if you're curious if your pet stats are maxed out or not, you could just look up petcalc.com. It's like Weebly Pet Calculator or something like that, and that will tell you if your pet is, you know, high enough to get the best stats. But yeah, that would be the best one for PvE, again, assuming you socket the Selfish talent there. And then for PvP, you're going to want a Deadly Melody Dragon, something like this. Now, I do not have my Mighty socketed on this character at all. I know I need to get onto that, but I would suggest having this pet with Mighty on a Death if you can. There's really no other alternative for, you know, Death pets. The Dark Pact, again, is just really good on a Death. It does do a lot of damage to you, so you need to be careful, but you can keep a lot of pressure and obviously do a crazy amount of damage with the Dark Pact pet here, so it's pretty good. You could run the old pet, which was the Death Dactyl, but the issue with the Death Dactyl is you obviously only have 1 Dark Pact compared to the 3, and that's a big deal because you won't pull that 1 Dark Pact as often as you will these ones, and there's some rounds you really need to pull those cards, right? But if you don't want to run the Melody Dragon or the Death Dactyl, a really solid alternative I've been seeing players do is run the what's this one called? The Fossil Avenger pet for the extra 5 damage. Because, you know, Dark Pact is pretty common. Players will typically hold on to a blade counter against a Death Wizard. So typically people just try not to Dark Pact that much on a death. So they'll go for the extra 5 damage regardless since it's uncapped, which isn't a bad idea in my opinion. I'll probably make a pet with, you know, PvP pet for this in the future and see if I like it. But I think right now I'm going to prefer the Melody Dragon because of how powerful it is. Alright, last but not least here, we have the Life Wizard. Now, Life actually has a lot of options. It depends a lot on your playstyle if you're a healer, if you're an offensive player, obviously. But Life, I would say, benefits the most from running the Fern Lumi. You get the 2 35 fuels, which is really, really good. What I will say, though, is a lot of players are used to this pet. If they see it, they'll hold on to their scales, their trap counters, and punish it. But another alternative, if you don't want to run this, is simply the Dark Pact pet. Dark Pact pet is really good, especially if you're going to try to go for a heal, like a Wings of Fate, let's say, or a lot of Brûlés, right? If you do an OT life hit, you won't really get much value from the traps, right? So I'd probably suggest the Deadly Melody Dragon, but if you don't have that, this Fern Lumi is really, really good. I'd probably tie them in terms of value. Then obviously for PvE, if you're, you know, playing again with a buddy, you know, hitting, you're going to want this pet. If you are going to be jading though, I do have a pet, which is, I don't have it on my account right now, but it's basically this pet, and then you have Pigsy Socketed for an extra 8%. So you'll get like 18% outgoing from your pet with 18% resist. So I have basically, let me put it on here, hold on. You have double Selfish Talent, right? You have Cautious and Mighty to get your, obviously, resist and your healing up. Then you have the Medic with the Socket outgoing on the Pigsy. And then, obviously, Proof Defy on the Enchanted Armament to, again, support your teammate a bit better. So you can buff up your opponent, buff up your teammate, have the most healing, and be very tanky. So it's a very solid support PvE pet. I will have this in the kiosk if you need help making it. But, yeah, that is all the pets I got. I think we covered every school. If I post this video and I forgot, you know, a school, I'm probably going to get a lot of backlash for that. But I hope you guys did enjoy the video. If you made it this far, be sure to leave a like, rating, and subscribe. If you disagree with any of my points, let me know why in the comments below, respectively. And, yeah, I'm gonna head out of here. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next one. And as always, take care, guys.